What's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube community? We're back with another video today. So this is going to be a good one. I got to give Gwendolyn credit. First, she set us up with this topic. We're all going to share some stories about where passion, that hunger, that drive that we all do share, you watching and all three of us, four of us here on the call today, we all share it. But where can that be a good thing and where can that be a bad thing? And as a new trader, I think if you're in the business within your first 5 years, you're still a new trader, right? As a new trader, you're going to go through a lot of experiences, I think, that show you for your own path, the positive and the negative of being so passionate. And you do need to balance that out. But when I say balance that out, I mean just kind of deal with it. You're going to have to take these experiences and really grow from them on both sides of the spectrum. So Gwendolyn, you actually just shared with us a really good story before we got started. Do you want to kick us off with that one, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so the dark side of passion, I'll just start it off there. Because obviously the passion, it stays for itself. Like it's what drives you, it keeps you, it sustains you. And when I was really falling in love with trading and the flame was reignited for me when I was working. I would work like anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours. I was working out twice a day. I was only sleeping for about 3 hours a day because I was trading the London Open, which is at midnight for my time zone. And on top of this, I was just trying to also learn the system. And it came to a point where I decided that, it was not going to be sustainable for me. I was going to have to quit my job. And right before that, I actually was sitting in bed and I was hallucinating. Like I was physically seeing things that weren't there. And that was because I just drove myself completely into the ground because I was just so focused on needing to succeed in trading and just like fueling the fire. I just didn't realize like everything else still needs to be taken care of. And
that's
really
crazy.
scary.
Definitely scary. And like, I was scared. I have a similar you're getting feedback on your mic, just so you know, G. You could turn it down a little bit. We won't pick up as much. But what I was going to say to your point, because I think it's important, Ryan and Lindsay, I want to get back to you as well. Do you guys think that, like, for people like me and Gwendolyn, you almost have to go through an experience like that where you're like driven into the ground almost to the point of no return, where then you have to literally reassess, like you did, Gwendolyn, like your entire existence? You have to reassess like your entire life in order to kind of come back from that. What do you think?
I think like we're both achievers, from the Clifton Strengths test. And
Right.
so I think that probably has something to do with it, is like that
That's what I mean.
drive to just get a W at the end of every day. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to get that win. So I think maybe not everybody has to go through it, but I think a lot of people that are going to be drawn towards trading in that.
How did you grow from it? Like, how did it push you to today's point to be more balanced out?
I mean, there's no choice after that. Like, where do you go from pushing yourself into the ground and hallucinating? Like, that's the reality check. You realize like you can't sustain. Like what I was doing was completely not sustainable, and so I had to switch up my practices. Like it's not going to be 8-12 hours in front of a chart. It's going to be 4. Like,
so if you could go back
for me
to when you first really started to pick up your intensity, what would you tell yourself? I mean, of course you would say slow down, but like more specifically than that, what would you say?
Dude, sleep. Like sleep is so powerful, and I feel like especially when like young people, like we really take sleep for granted, and it's so fun. Like it's such a fundamental part of our lives. Like just take the time to sleep. You'll get more out of your day if you just are more well rested.
Definitely. I mean, I got Ryan on the Whoop band now, so now we're both going to be tracking our sleep. Do you want to add anything to that, Ryan?
Yeah, no, yeah, it goes tomorrow. But I was gonna add that that's exactly what happened to me on Monday. I couldn't sleep at night, so I only got 4 hours of sleep. I woke up, I took 2 bad trades, couldn't stay focused, I went back to sleep, and then I missed out on the re-entry on EN that Lindsay took advantage of. And 100%, you gotta sleep. That's why, I mean, and to kind of look at the other side of the coin, when you look at the passion of it, that's what I was doing when I was working full time. I was only sleeping 4 hours a day. But at the same time, I was sleeping 4 hours and then sleeping 4 hours. So I feel like at that point, it depends on I wouldn't say your mood, but passion is why you do it. But while you're able to keep going with it, I think it's kind of the routine.
Definitely.
Taking care of yourself. If you're only sleeping 4 hours, Yeah, because if you're only sleeping 4 hours and you're going the whole rest of the day, you're not going to make it very long.
No, definitely. What were you going to say, Lindsay?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to agree with Ryan. I think, just like he said, it's the passion that keeps you going when you're hitting the high and low points as well. But you need to have that balance. And obviously for me, being a full-time mum at home, I can't have all the hours in the charts. And I've been there and done it. And it just causes friction in my household. So I knew that I'm a mum first and my trading comes second. But my passion overrides sometimes, and I've got to have somebody pull me back and say, Lindsay, you know, we need to just have these set hours, set routine, and this is where you're committing to your trading, and this is where you're committing to, you know, everything else you do around your trading.
Right. I feel like
but
that's
the passion. I think,
yeah.
The passion is what gets you through your highs and your lows of your trading
100%.
journey.
100%. Yeah,
I think it is a kind of split way, like passion.
And the interesting part that I feel like we've all gone through with being so driven for more is that even though it's led us all to a point of being frustrated, all to some degree of being beaten down, to that point of really almost questioning if it's right, overcoming that, I think, has its own unique characteristic that you achieve as you mentally fight through that tough battle. Because no matter where it is, it's at the end of the day going to be a decision that you, me, whoever it is, decides to make, to say, no, I'm not going to let my passion here in this situation, whether it makes you sick or whatever it is, I'm not going to let my passion make me quit. I'm going to just redirect my passion now, like Lindsay's saying, into something that's more constructive, more, more conducive to positive and productive behavior going forward. It's interesting because like Grant Cardone, I know most of you guys know who that is. He talks about like the 10X thing, and he talks about being a drug addict at 25, and then now he's got a couple $1 billion worth of real estate. And it's interesting because he says, he's like, most high achievers, and I think that traders fall into that boat. Most of us are to some degree addicts of some kind. You're addicted to something, even if it's the sense of achievement, you could be addicted to that. So you have to feed that addiction. You got to feed that inner hunger. Male or female, we all share that energy once you come to the trading desk and you make the commitment that I want to figure this out. For me, when I got, I've had two situations where like it really kind of screwed me up. One of them is where a lot of us actually kind of started to meet each other. And then one of them was before. The first one, like I told you guys, was when I was in college. I just got sick. It was like pneumonia. It was something, but it put me off the charts. And it was for the same reason, like you said, Gwendolyn, I was not taking care of myself. And I've been talking about it for a long time now, where I've been like, yo, you need to just have set hours and then you need to go do something else. And now I'm taking it to the extreme where I'll trade, get off the chart, come back and still trade. Like I'm finding however to stay balanced and kind of keep myself in control. It's taken some time, but I'm finally finding that balance. And then more recently, kind of similar to what you said, Ryan, where I was waking up with lack of sleep. And it wasn't making me sick, but it was making me make poor decisions, and it was impacting my trading. So I had to reassess, and I'm like, you're not operating at peak performance. And if we're really going to try to grow a trading business, and I'm really going to be the guy saying I want to help people trade and make money trading, is anything but peak performance allowed? Not really. So that's why over the last year, I've been doing a lot of reading about psychology, a lot of reading about how to take care of myself better, and not just buying into the traditional bullshit that they tell you. Get 8 hours of sleep, eat 3 meals a day. Like that's out the window. You know what I mean? To the point, I'll share something with you guys. This is interesting. Riley had a test done that she figured out. Of course, there are always, errors, but this lady who was pretty knowledgeable, she told Riley that her body, based on a test that they did, doesn't process leafy greens well in the morning. I think it might be in the afternoon. She'll yell at me because I got it wrong, but it's weird. Down to that detail of science is how her and I are trying to get, because we want to know how to feed the machine the right way. So can any of you maybe share an experience more positively about how you directed the passion into feeding the machine the right way?
For me, I think it was just sleep and balance. I mean, there's really nothing else. I think what keeps me, when it comes to taking care of my physical body, it's sleep. And for me, I don't like eating in the morning, so therefore I don't. Not only that, but when I wake up, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So I think it'd be inconsiderate for everyone else downstairs making breakfast at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So, but regardless, I mean, when you're looking at me, I don't react well to eating food that early in the morning, and sometimes even just coffee.
There you go.
So I I hold out, and it keeps me focused.
But there's actually science that backs that up. So like the intermittent fasting, if you only drink black coffee, it keeps you mentally sharper and stuff like that. So there's science there. There it is. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But and not only that, but I'm seeing the benefits to where I'm actually feeling good about myself, not only physically but mentally as well. Like I feel good, and there's some days where you're feeling so good that you're just wired. You can work 14 hours a day, and maybe it's a little bit overboard if you're going to be on the charts for 14 hours a day, but regardless, you have the ability to do so. Actually, I think it was either Grant Cardone talks about it, where if you're going to prepare to do 10 push-ups or prepare to do 100 push-ups, you have to be able to do 150 push-ups. You have to be able to do 200 push-ups that you can do it, so that you can hit 100 every single time.
Mastery.
So I want to make sure that I'm very well prepared to be on the charts for 6 or 8 hours, but I know that I can be sitting here for 14 hours in a day.
Yep. And I feel like to take that even a little bit more, if you're not trading, like for me, I do a lot of other stuff. All of us do coaching calls with people. I'm also building the other side of our business, doing interviews with other people's podcasts now, which is really cool. So keeping myself busy, like, so I'm working, I feel like I'm being productive, feeding the achiever, feeding the hunger, right? But not staring at the charts helps kind of me drive home that same point, Ryan, of like, hey, I can be here for 6 hours if I have to, 8 hours if I have to. But at the same time, I'd like to be done in 2 hours, and I'd like to go on my walk and get breakfast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, talk about passion. Right now, I just a couple minutes ago, I just entered a EuroCAD trade, and we're over here. I swear I entered it. I'm just waiting for another retest so I can put in the rest of my position. But there's a passion.
I was watching over here.
I'm having my other monitor over here, and we're talking over here. But it's balanced because it's fun. But regardless, we're half working. This is work too, but then when we're done with this or the other, I can go on the rest of my day with no problem.
We could talk about this for a second. It's like redefining work. When you really understand what trading is, you completely redefine the word work. And it's cool because after a while, people, and I promise this will happen to you guys too if it hasn't already, people they'll completely stop asking you, how's work? Are you working right now? They just know. You know what I mean? Because when you're actively trading, it's a different sense of the word work, where you have to, we've talked about before, condition yourself to do the things that most humans don't want to do, like be prepared to sit at the desk for 6 hours, but you also want to be able to get in and get, like, you know what I mean, play the other side of that as well, where you can make your money in as short of a time as possible with as little friction as possible too.
Yeah, and it's cool because my friends are starting to get the hang of it. So every now and then they'll ask me, so how's work? I was like, I don't work. I haven't worked since November.
There you go. So now they're going to start to get it.
Right, the stocks. Like,
exactly.
Stocks.
Exactly.
Or they'll say that thing you do. What's that thing you do?
Right.
That
exactly.
I'm still doing that.
It is a beautiful thing, and it's only, I think what ties us all together is passion. How did we all even meet each other? It's because we've been, before even trading, we've all been passionate about becoming more, like growing, becoming not better. Better is the worst possible word to use for this type of what I'm trying to describe, but enlightened is a good word, maybe a little bit closer. Just growth is the way I describe it. Just greater in every way, physically, mentally, every way, financially, with more everything. I feel like that passion, and then to maybe bond us together even more, it's that it has affected us negatively too. Lindsay, did you want to share a story or anything where passion has maybe led you wrong? And do you have anything? Because you haven't blown an account, so how wrong can it be?
It's not really, I would say, negative, but it just is that my passion can overrule me sometimes. Sure. And I just had to, for me, I had to keep routines. So I have set times in the morning when I'm in business. Then I kind of break it up because I had, family commitments in between, and then I have to come back to it in the afternoon. So it's had to, for me, it's been having to be kept in routine. Mm-hmm. And that's only because my passion did override me, and I really wasn't, not that I wasn't caring of it, anybody else behind me, but I was fully focused on, I want to succeed at this, and I want to be really good at it, and I want to reach to the top levels and be there. And the only way for me to do that is be focused all the time. But I was forgetting about the family around about me that's most important to me.
Of course.
Because I just
the
kept
reason you started trading.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, and I really, before trading came along, I wasn't really passionate much about. I didn't really have a sport I was really passionate about
Sure.
or anything like that. It was me being at home with my family, and then obviously trading came into it. So, and that's where I truly did find passion.
Makes sense. You made me think of a good point too that I want to touch on. Balancing your passion, I think, can be done efficiently with fair expectations. If you set the bar not too high, not too low, and you kind of, and only can do that by looking around and seeing people that are already doing it and try to match that. But if you set that bar, I think that expectation that you try to live into of something that's already being done with proof of concept, that can kind of keep the passion controlled. Almost. Of course, to never, you're still going to run, run the jet ski or whatever I said onto the sandbar. It's still going to happen. But if you expect the right amount of success and losses, then I think you can, what do you guys think? Control that passion.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to. I think when you first come into Forex, obviously you kind of see that you think you're going to go that speed and that high,
But it's like a corkscrew.
and then you've got to reverse back and then set yourself your goals of expectations of what you know within your time you're going to put into your business, your commitment, your small goals to lead you to the big goals.
Right. Absolutely.
And then for me, when I first started trading, my passion, I came with a passion for trading. So my problem was over trading. And I think that's why it was so hard for me to stop being trigger happy, because I kind of got used to looking at the charts all morning and bouncing around.
Dude, a lot of people
I've had kind of pulled back. Huh?
I said a lot of people struggle with over trading, especially when they're new. They trade too much. I think a lot of people still trade too much,
And that's exactly why I bring it up, because a lot of newer people that are going to come across that. I just added the restaurant position on EuroCat. But that's going to happen where you fall in love with trading and you see the potential, and then you realize that it's almost like the whole topic is a double-edged sword, where you can that passion can very well lead you to extreme losses.
Definitely. Yeah. So
I think a strong passion can lead the goods and the bads, because when you think about it, when I came, before I came to ASFX, there was many times in my journey on the kind of 3 months building up where I was questioning myself because I couldn't find my edge in the market, and I kept thinking, am I ever going to find this? What's driving me here to keep going all the time? And it was my passion for trading, and I think that's what pushed me to why I actually started trading Forex in the first place, Lindsay. And I questioned myself and asked myself that question. But if I didn't have the passion behind me, would I have kept searching to find my edge? I don't know if I would have.
No way.
So I think because I had the passion, that's what drove me to never quit. Because my why was big and my passion was there, and that's why I kept fighting it until I found my edge.
I love that. Absolutely. What do you think for someone, and anybody comment on this, what do you think for someone that doesn't even understand what an edge is, but is maybe trying to align their passion with a system? What advice could you give to that person that's listening to us right now? They know ASFX has entry and exit systems. We have courses and stuff, but they're trying to find, maybe that's not for them. We know that's not for everybody. What would you say to them? Any of you? I'm interested.
I think it's important to know what you're able to accomplish. So maybe not necessarily in terms of goals, percentages, whatever, but are you able to look at a chart, and if it tells you something, are you able to understand and read it? Because that's half of it. The chart is telling its own story. It's telling what it's going to do, but are you able to read it? And there's, just like in the world, there's tons of different languages. And I think that for others, when it comes to trading, there's a lot of different ways for people to read the charts and still make money. So as long as you're able to read it and capitalize on it, that's what matters.
Definitely. Well said. Lindsay, you got anything you want to add? Gwendolyn?
Yeah, I would say when you're trying to find your edge, your edge is really just the main thing is the repeatable pattern that you're looking for, your significant levels, your whole your whole thing. It's not just one factor of the market. It's not just how you get into the market. It's also how you manage in the market and how you exit the market. You know, like I feel like the edge it's more than just an entry signal. It's about all of your trading and even with ASFX, it's cool to see now because there's so many members. Like it's this, but to see it being used by all of these different people with all of these different backgrounds, and they're kind of interpreting it in their own kind of special ways, like it's the ASFX system, but with each person's individual edge added to it. It's really cool.
No, and a part of that edge, I think what we've seen is that for the newer people, at least, we're able to impose upon them the idea that there has to be a sense of balance. There has to be a sense of, okay, I'm going to trade certain hours, not because Austin's saying it, but because Lindsay's doing it, Austin's doing it, Ryan's doing it, Gwendolyn's. I see everybody's only here for set hours. Okay, so I'll balance that. Oh, I see Austin's doing workouts. I see Ryan's doing workouts. I see all these people do. Okay, maybe I need to. They start to incorporate these other things because we're leading by example. And I think even that, like you just said, kind of plays into the whole idea of them not letting the passion get to the better of them. You know what I mean? Letting it cause them to burn out, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially I've seen a lot of traders, especially trading the overnight session, where obviously with our system, our one of our entire parameters and qualifications revolves around the Asian session. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they ask questions like, "Hey, can I trade Asian session?" I was like, "Yeah, but obviously you don't have that. You can't tell us we're outside of the Asian session because we're still in it."
Right.
And maybe trying that out and implementing the system can kind of cause a bit of a hiccup there.
Definitely. So it's like you have to stay on the technical edge to an extent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me that the edge for me was everything. I think it's all about everything in your trading plan. My risk reward was just, I've already said it, was shit before I came to ASFX, and I knew that was a part of the edge that I really was missing. The trade management side of it, the community side of it is a part of it as well. Being surrounded by experienced traders, open-minded people.
Sure.
Like you said, keeping your hours, all of that comes into the edge for me.
What do you
guys think? And I was
think?
just missing that.
No, and we've spoken about that a lot, Lindsay, and now you made me think of another good question. What do you do now that you found some consistency, that you found an edge? What do you do to continue to feed your passion? What do you guys do? Because I have an answer, but I want to hear from you guys first.
I think for me, it's just to evolve and grow, and just feed my mindset, keep the balance, keep in routine.
What do you do specifically? Keep routine. Okay, keep routine is good, but more specifically than that, what about even your diet?
Yeah, a healthy balance, a healthy lifestyle.
Content, what you're listening to, what you're watching, who are you consuming, who are you feeding your. I think those things then manage the passion.
So I always read motivational quotes every day. I like to do my affirmations every day.
You even create them too, which helps you drive it home even more.
I think each individual has their own things that help them to evolve every day.
Ryan, you do anything specific?
Whether it is working out.
Not, I mean, maybe subconsciously, not that I can think of.
That's what I'm trying to pick apart.
I know
right
the
now.
routine.
Let's think about it. You know what I mean? Think about what you do on a daily basis. Is there anything you do even subconsciously to feed the passion that a new trader listening to this that's trying to feed their passion would take away from you? Is what I'm getting at.
Because for me, especially when I got to the point of working full time, like I was telling you, and I think I put on my story a while back, where it's like when I started trading full time and my schedule just revolved around trading, my rest of the day I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I would just watch movies, but not with the just kind of mindlessly watch movies, not like how I do mainly, which is like I studied the story. I like the story. I studied the cinematography and all that, but when you lose the routine, it's almost like you become purposeless. And for me, I mean, I don't know it's hard to self-examine yourself in this particular way, but I feel like I was borderline like depressed, where all I do is just watch TV, sit on the couch, and sleep all day.
I can relate to
I mean,
that.
at one point, I was playing video games 8 hours a day for an entire week,
Right.
and that I think really affected my training, because the entire days I just feel like crap. So that's why, you know, I got that job for like 2 weeks. That kind of helped bring back my routine. And since then, like I'm telling you, like, I'm feeling great. Some days I'm just wired into the computer where I'm super productive. And I think that, I mean, that definitely helps keep me in check.
Well, the video games definitely
And I
aren't
think you've got to stay. I think you've got to stay.
Good, Lens.
I said I think you've got to, you know, stay on routine, because I know, like I've said to you, my fitness side of it, I slacked in my yoga a couple of weeks ago, and the trading, it affected my trading and the trades that I took.
Sure.
So I definitely think you have to create the habit and then
Yep.
be doing the habit every day.
If there was one habit that you guys could go back and instill in yourself when you first started trading, what would it be?
Mine's definitely my yoga.
Yeah, good answer.
Well, I think
You said
what-
meditation.
Meditation, good answer too. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah.
probably the balance and staying busy and productive. But I think that when you become unproductive, it almost like it hurts your self-esteem. We're just like, man, I'm just here like a piece
What are
of
you
art,
doing to be
know?
productive? You're doing the photo stuff for fun. You're shooting car videos. You're shooting stuff like that. That's being productive to you. Guitar lessons, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that with the guitar lessons help. In the middle of the week, it's doing my coaching calls, which
So,
you know, which are good.
Stop. We all three of you just mentioned a habit that has nothing to do with something on the chart. Isn't that interesting? The first thing, I know this conversation is already set up to feed with that because we haven't really spoken about charts at all, but think about that. Instead of the first thing initially coming to your mind, like, damn, I wish I would have just stuck to my trading rules or stuck to trading perfect L50s or stuck to trading good trending trades, yoga, meditation, and balance in my free time. Those are the three habits that you got. That's pretty interesting to hear that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I had to instill a
Yeah.
habit in myself,
Well,
it
yeah, because
would-
I think trading is so.
no, go ahead, G.
Oh, I was just gonna say this because I think that's just how impactful the psychology is on trading. Like some people like to try and downplay, you know, psychology, and they're like it's like less than however much percent. I'm like it's a huge chunk because if your mind is not right, dude, you can't trade. Like I can't really see charts right now, so I can't trade. So I'm like, okay, now I need to find balance off the charts. I got to do other stuff. But that's going to help me when I come back to the charts because I'll be fresh. I'll be recharged. You know, I won't be like,
Of course.
ready.
Of course.
You know, when it comes to psychology, I wish the first book that I had read was One Good Trade rather than the all-time famous book, Trading in the Zone. Everyone recommends Trading in the Zone, and it's a good book. But I wish I had
One
read
Good Trade is
One
better.
Good.
One Good Trade is the best trading book ever.
100%.
100%.
It focuses a lot more on probabilities. Not only that, but like focusing on your education and finding a good mentor.
Yep. And
Like the
but
first
I'm
half
not
of
even,
the book talks about education.
right. And then on top of that, you take like literally that book is him showing how education is the foundation, and then individual traders through his stories all just doing one good trade, then leading them into being black shirts or leading them into green shirts, which is their milestones for success. But it literally is education, one system, okay, another system, oh, another system. Then they got some of his guys still trade two systems, and that's it. Like every trader is a little different, you know what I mean? And that even goes back to every trader's degree of passion. Some of us are like me and Gwendolyn, where we will physically hurt ourselves almost because of trading, and some of us are a little bit more sane like Lindsay, and they won't have to do that. You know what I mean? I think it's just interesting to see how it all does come together. And I feel like no matter what, something also that stays constant is that passion is like driving you straight. And as other people try to talk, like Lindsay was saying about like trading, like, oh, you're doing that thing still, or what, you know what I mean? Like whatever they want to say, most of the time it's negative. With your passion can keep all that stuff out of your vision, out of your focus, you know what I mean? Because it's coming in, but you're so passionate. It's like, dude, I don't care. Like when I left college and everybody told me it was a bad idea, I was like, I don't care what any of you think. You're not going to understand right now. You're just not supposed to. But I had a passion for freedom. I had a passion for, oh, I have control anything that I had control over, I was passionate about, you know?
And that's the thing. If you and I don't share the same mindset, we're not going to agree.
Of course.
No.
I think that's one of the reasons why we're here is because we have a similar mindset. I mean, when I first met Austin, when I first started following Austin on Instagram, I was trading stocks.
Right.
And all it is the similarity in mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I tell
you
people
how
about
that work was
too.
like when I was going to quit, a lot of people were telling me like, I like straight up telling me like, Ryan, this is a bad idea.
Right.
Dude, like my mind's made up. I'm sorry. You can't understand.
Your mind was made up on being open-minded. And I guess open-mindedness is another characteristic I think that goes hand in hand with being passionate. If you're passionate and closed-minded, we are not friends. Those are like the worst people ever because it's like arguing with a tree. You know what I'm saying?
This is just
Yes, bro. It is their way. The sky is purple. It is purple. You want to talk? It's purple. You know what I'm saying? They will stand there and scream it's purple. But open-minded with passion, when you mix those two together, that's magic. That's like, oh, show me a little bit of opportunity, show me a little light, I'm jumping in. I'm gonna try to claw at it every freaking cent. You know what I'm saying?
I think we touched on this in our last video. We touched on it somewhere, but it's like there's a difference between being closed-minded and like maybe hold on. There's so I'm trying to differentiate looking for insight, right? Which is when you have your idea, you have your mindset, and you have your beliefs, but then you're willing to open up and ask for insight when there's maybe other ideas out there.
Yep.
And then there's stuff where it's just like, I've done my research and these are my beliefs and I think I'm good here because it works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. That's a good point too.
But
Definitely
it's that difference in being open-minded and looking for insight that's different.
I love that. I love it. This is good. This is really good. I'm glad that we kind of stemmed off a little bit in different directions, but all brought it back to the double-edged sword of being passionate, because now hopefully people can see experience is the thing that I think you have to understand is like what comes first. That if you have experience in any industry, you're going to see the double sides of a lot of things. One of them is, especially as a trader, is being passionate. So now in our position, we can turn back and say, hey, if you're new and you're in your first year, your first month, or you're not trading yet, maybe you're year 3 and you're still struggling. Let's redirect that passion. Let's focus this in the right way. Open-mindedness, right? Mentorship, like we touched on in here. Not burning out, being balanced, staying off the charts, things like that. Setting work hours. A lot of the things that we touched on in here, I think, are really going to get people hopefully thinking just about how they can redirect the passion, because directed passion with open-mindedness, I think that's like the 1 + 1 = 2. That's the money right there. You know what I mean? It doesn't get much more clean than that. And then at that point, you just need the experience. You just need the time, which we are all here to hopefully shortcut for those of you that are watching. So for everybody listening, we appreciate you sitting through another episode with us. Let us know if you're enjoying these longer format conversations in the comments down below. We're going to keep them coming for you. And I'm going to make sure to link to Lindsay's page, Gwendolyn's page, and Ryan's page in the description of this video. That way you guys can all connect. Exactly. And that way you guys can all connect and we can all build the community. So guys, I appreciate you very much. I'm glad that everybody traded well today. Ryan, good luck on that trade that you're in right now. And thank you as always.
I'm up.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey guys.